So we'll go ahead and get started. We are recording this for everyone to be able to show everyone later, but welcome everyone. We're so happy to have you here today. I'm Kyle Carter with Curata Travel, and we've got two of our other team members here. We've got Brianna and
Hi.
Chris.
Hi, everyone.
And today we're going to be diving into the culinary treasures of Northern Italy, which is one of our favorite areas with the lakes, mountains, incredible food traditions. And our goal today is to give you a taste of Lombardia, Veneto, and the Trentino-Alto Adige regions, and show you how some of our curated tours bring these flavors to life. If it's your first time with us, we want to welcome you and give you a little information about Curata Travel. We started running culinary tours back in 2012 as part of a cheese business called Caputo Brothers Creamery, which we're still a part of. Over the years, the tours and all of our following just took it to a life of its own. And we officially launched Curata Travel 10 years later in 2022. So we've been leading these small group food and wine tours for 13 years now, covering just about every region of Italy and now a few additional countries where I actually leave for Bordeaux in France next week. And we ran a tour in Croatia last year and next year. Our focus has always been on the food traditions of the regions we visit and also taking you off the beaten path to places most travelers don't know about. So that's sort of our passion. It's a picture of what Curata Travel does. So if this is your first time here, then welcome. So why Northern Italy? This area of Italy offers everything Americans love about Italy, the food, the wine, the scenery, the history, but with what we think of as a twist. You're going to have the refined side of Italy. You've got, especially when you think of Lake Como, you have the lakeside villas. This is an area for sparkling wines. You have the dramatic mountain peaks. And for travelers who've done Rome or Tuscany, which we of course also love, this think of it as like the next step into the heart of Italy's culinary diversity. It's got the perfect blend of nature, authentic charm, and a little touch of luxury, especially again as you think about those Lake Como famous villas. The culinary variety in these areas really surprises travelers who may only know or think of pasta and pizza as Italian traditions. Each region has dishes that Americans rarely encounter in Italian American restaurants at home, which we'll touch on as we dive deeper in our presentation. And that's something that we really strive to show people on all of our tours is you think you know Italian food from our restaurants here in the US. But when you get over to Italy, you know, people are still looking for fettuccine Alfredo, or everyone always asks where the pasta and red sauce is, which does exist, but it's so regional that that's what we love showing people. You can go from one region to another, and a recipe is completely different. The pasta dishes, like you're not going to be finding, well, you can find spaghetti carbonara outside of Rome, but you shouldn't. That should be where you're eating it. So we love to teach people these lessons and help you really learn more about the traditions of each region. And I'm going to be talking a lot here, but Chris and Brianna are going to jump in whenever they want. But if you have questions, please put them in the chat below, and Chris and Brianna will flag me down, and we'll get your questions answered as well. We're really excited to share these regions with you. So you can see from the map, Northern Italy, as you recognize the boot. We're mostly going to be talking about the areas of Lombardia, Veneto, and Trentino-Alto Adige today, which you've got surrounded by the little red outline today. We also run tours in Piemonte. We've been to the Aosta area, and hopefully we'll have some tours going there in the future. This area is almost like three countries in one. You've got the rolling hills and vineyards of the Po Valley, which is something that covers that whole swath of northern Italy and even down into Emilia-Romagna. It's the low-lying areas around the Po River, which cuts down into Italy. You've got the dramatic Dolomite Mountains, and then you've got Venice with obviously the famous canals leading to the Adriatic Sea. So you've got mountains, lakes, canals, ocean, and the geography really shapes the cuisine. So you up in the mountains, you'll have heartier dishes. You've got if you think about even when we were talking about Calabria the other day. The area we visit is right on the coast, but there's a mountaintop restaurant we visit. And if you think about in previous times when they didn't have access to drive up and down these mountain roads to the sea, there's no seafood up there. It's all land-based dishes. So you'll find this also in the Alps and the Dolomites. So you've got heartier dishes, and then by the lakes, you have more refined risotto. You've got lake fish dishes. And then in Venice, you've got obviously access to seafood, and there's a huge aperitivo culture there that we'll talk about in a little bit, which is what makes this area so exciting for culinary travelers like ours. You can go just a couple hours and feel like you're in a whole new culinary destination. Our Lakes Regions tour actually goes from Lombardia through Veneto, straight across this whole region, and you really get a diverse picture of this area. So you've got the lakes again, you've got the city in Verona, and then you end in Chioggia on the Venetian lagoon. So it's a really beautiful picture of this whole swath of northern Italy.
I mean, even from, I mean, you mentioned you can go a couple hours and get a totally different cuisine, but then you also mentioned like you're on the lake, you're getting fresh seafood, like food, fish,
Mhm.
and then you go 10 minutes up the road and you're getting that sort of mountain hardy cuisine. And it made me think of the cooking class that we do on our Lakes Region tour, where we make this pasta dish, which you also mentioned, like when you go to Italy, you're looking for like the pasta dishes that we typically hear in the US, which is like the fettuccine, what we think of as lasagna. But we create a pasta there that's I had never heard of before we sort of did some research before bringing a group there, but it's called pizzoccheri. Never heard of that in the US, but it's sort of this very hearty, it's made with buckwheat flour, I think,
Mhm.
this hearty pasta dish with just a ton of cheese added. But it's really delicious. So that sort of opens your eyes to just going a few minutes up the road from the lake where you get a totally different dish that you wouldn't find on the lake itself.
Yeah, exactly. Polenta, you're gonna have like those heartier dishes. There's an incredible, speaking of cheese, there's an incredible cheesy polenta that we have at a restaurant just above the lake. So yeah, um, a great exposure to a lot of different dishes on, especially on that lake strip. And so speaking of this area of the famous, the famous Italian lakes, sorry, we've got Lake Como, Lake Garda, um, some of the more elegant and rich dishes here. So, risotto alla Milanese, which is a famous risotto from the Milan area, which is made with saffron, something you'll see a lot in this area. Ossobuco, the lake fish that Brianna mentioned from Lake Garda and Lake Como. And then, yeah, you can easily go just a few minutes up to mountains for like that delicious cheesy polenta or roast rabbit or um, land-based animals that you'll find up in the mountains versus the fish. But then you also have the light sparkling wines of Franciacorta, which rivals champagne. And then Lugana is a type of white wine from the area that's nice and crisp and perfect for sipping along the lakeside as you're watching the sunset. um, we also balance these dishes and culinary experiences with a lot of fun excursions. Like on Lake Como, we have a private boat tour, so you can see these famous villas, not only the historic ones, but celebrity villas we all love seeing, and visit the famous Bellagio, which is called the Pearl of Lake Como, with sort of lifestyles of the rich and famous feel to it. We have the opportunity on that trip to participate in a winery's annual grape harvest, which is such a cool experience to be there in the vines. You're clipping the grapes, you're tasting some of the just refined grape juice before it becomes wine. We do a blind wine taste. We have a whole day there, and it's not only a beautiful setting, but a really cool experience like we don't have on any other trip. And then you have the opportunity to visit a town's weekly market on the shores of Lake Garda. It's one of the bigger markets we visit, and you really see how it's a way of life in this area, not to mention an incredibly stunning backdrop. And then moving over into Veneto. So those two regions come together right around Verona. The line goes like straight up till you get to the Trentino-Alto Adige region. One thing that's big in this area is the cicchetti tradition, which is small bites and a spritz. You'll see these cicchetti bars all through Venice. You'll find them in Chioggia, where we stay. Um, and it's a great little tradition. It's just small bites. You'll see a huge display. You pick it by the piece. It's really delicious. You also beyond Venice, obviously the probably the best known city in this region, you're going to find coastal seafood dishes like frito misto, which I know is Chris's
Mm.
favorite dish, which is mixed fried seafood, which is amazing. You'll find a lot of bacala, which is a salt cod, squid ink risotto, and then Veneto is much more than just Venice. It goes inland, like I said, all the way to Verona. You'll find handmade tortellini, which, like I was saying, you may think tortellinis from Bologna or from a different region. Each of these regions has their specialty of whether it's just the difference in the size, the filling. Not all tortellini is created equal. This is also the region of Asiago cheese. There's a specific radicchio from this area. So all this shows a huge range in this region, not just seafood, not just Venice and cicchetti. And then Veneto is also the birthplace of Prosecco and Amarone, which is a beautiful red wine. You'll find this in a risotto in Verona. It's very rich and really delicious, beautiful color. One of my favorite experiences when we're visiting this region is a really cool thing that we have in the Venetian Lagoon, where we go and spend the day with a family of fishermen on their cassone, which is like a fishing hut right in the middle on stilts in the middle of the lagoon. They pick us up in their fishing boat and take us out for the day. They create a fantastic lunch, and it's just a party. It's always a party out there. They've got the speakers, they've got the spritz flowing, and it's a lot of fun. That's a really unique experience that I haven't seen anyone else ever offer. So that's a really cool day. It's one of my favorite days on any tour, actually.
And it's a party. There's a lot of eating, there's a lot of drinking, but there's also a lot of learning too. So they're talking about how they farm the clams or the mussels or the fish, how they do the fishing and catch it to serve to us right on the little fishing hut. So you're learning a lot along the way too. It's very cool.
Yes.
And something else that's really beautiful about Italian cuisine as a whole is that, as we mentioned, there are different dishes for the coastal areas versus the mountains versus the plains. And obviously, one of those regions is accessibility to ingredients, but another one is because of the lifestyle. Their dishes have to support their lifestyle. Where it's colder and more rugged in the mountains, they need more heartier dishes with more protein, more calories. And that's where you'll find the rabbit and the meats. Also, because those climates can't grow as many crops. And then when you start to go down into the farmlands, that has a lot more crops and vegetables in their diet, and then obviously seafood on the coast. So it's very deeply rooted in their culture. And a lot of these recipes, since they have such a purpose, they go back hundreds and hundreds of years. And you'll find various different spins on certain dishes, as Kyle had mentioned, like with tortellini, because it's all unique to the region and even to the city as a whole. If you go, from one city to another, even in the same region, they may have a totally different spin on a dish.
Yeah, and the seasonality of everything is really important because from our culture, we're used to going into a grocery store and you can get a tomato any time of the year, an avocado, eggplant, anything. We're used to being able, you have the same produce selection all year round. Now we've got like our farm to table restaurants and things here, but that is not how it is in Italy. You go to the farmers markets, you go to a restaurant, and you're not going to find caprese on a menu outside of tomato season. That's not when they grow. That's not, you eat it as it grows, and that's it's just not something that we have in the culture here. And I think it's something that a lot of people come home from our tours with that appreciation, and really, really learn a lot from seeing that. The Dolomites region. So this, I've been now multiple times during the year, and it's still stunningly beautiful no matter what time of year you're there. If you're there in the winter, Chris and I were just there this spring, unseasonably warm. It was so, but there was still snow on the mountains. It was really gorgeous. And this is where you will find a lot of that mountain cuisine, other than the Alps above Lake Como, the Dolomites, speck, another one of Chris's favorites, which is a smoked pork product you'll find in every shop up there and in just about every dish. Culinary, which is a specialty of our favorite bus driver Steve, which is with their hand rolled bread dumplings that you'll find either served with sauce or in a broth. Usually has some speck in it as well. Apple strudel. Um, so you will see the influence of the bordering countries. We're talking all the way up north on the top border of Italy. So a lot of Americans, obviously, again, no Rome, no Florence, no Venice, but the Dolomites and their mountain towns are still kind of feel undiscovered to us as American travelers. There you get a lot of European charm. It feels Italian, but you can feel the influence, like the signs in the town of Bolzano, street signs or shop signs. It's not like you'll see elsewhere. You'll see like Italian, English, and maybe German. It's starting with German. So huge Austrian influence here. And so the speck, the Knaderly, apple strudel. When we're going to the Christmas markets, you'll see pretzels, which is like a soft pretzel hanging in all the market stands. You can also get an incredible pretzel that's cut in half with cheese and speck in it, which is top of my list. But you also, this all probably sounds very heavy, but you also have a lot of lightness with vegetables. Trento is the highest apple producer, apple farms, in the country. They have incredible apple farms. We go to an apple farm and a cidery on our tours in this area. You've got crisp white wines like Gewürztraminer or Trento Doc, which is a sparkling wine. And then in December, obviously we're partial to this time of year because you get the Christmas markets. Bolzano is one of the biggest Christmas markets in the country. It's got, again, that cool German or Austrian influence with the Italian. You've got the little alpine huts everywhere, twinkling lights. You've got the snow-capped mountains in the background. You've got mulled wine that you're walking around with. It's the word cozy barely describes it. It feels so festive, and there's Christmas trees everywhere. It's really beautiful. And then we also have a summer tour. So these areas don't just shut down in the summer. It's where a lot of people go for their respite in the August in the holiday season. It's great for outdoor activities. There's foraging. There's the ski resorts turn into like adventure parks. You can do like a mountain coaster. You can do hiking, zip lining, all sorts of things like that. I'm sure you guys also love the Christmas market, so feel free to jump in with your favorite
Yeah,
Christmas market.
I'm here right now. I'm in the Bolzano Christmas market. I have always been a Christmas holiday lover. I start counting down about now. I'll start my countdown to Christmas. So when we first introduced our Christmas markets tours in 2023, I think, right? Um, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. And I was trying to fit all of the Christmas markets we could in one tour. But the Bolzano and Trento Christmas markets are really something special. You feel like you're transported into this sort of um, fantastical place with the lights that Kyle mentioned, and everyone is sort of bundled up and they have their vin brûlée in their hand, and you just sort of stroll around and you get to do some shopping and try all of the delicious foods and look at the mountains and look at all the Christmas decorations. So it's a really special tour because it's not, I mean, we do focus on food and wine as much as any of our other tours, but there's that extra component of festivities happening as well.
Yeah, and I think that's something that makes the Christmas market so special is it isn't just an occasion to go and shop. Obviously, there's great souvenirs, there's great handmade artisan crafts and stuff, but it's an event in itself. You know, there's live music, there's mulled wine, you walk around and you make an event out of it. It's not just to go and get your presents for your family and leave. It can be a whole night.
Yeah, I mean they start in November and go all the way through Christmas in any of these towns. We visit on our Christmas markets tour, we visit Trento and Bolzano, and then we as a team visited a friend's local Christmas market, which was completely different. So you might think like, I mean, how many Christmas markets can I really see? They're different. The one we go to, the new one is super unique. It is, I mean, talk about feeling transported. I mean, Brianna, I know Chris hasn't had a chance to see it yet, but it's a totally different experience. So I don't want to give too much away because you just have to come on the tour and find out. Before we move on, is there any, I know Chris and Brianna have been looking at the chat and we had some people submit questions beforehand as well. Is there anything we want to cover?
I did have one question from someone. We sort of started talking about it just now, but what kind of um, stalls or stands were there at the Christmas markets?
Yeah, so beyond the food, so we mentioned the vin brûlé, which is mulled wine. There's food, which we encourage people to try. We actually did a little food Christmas market bingo in previous years where we encourage people to try some of the, you know, the strudels, the pretzels, the you can get the canederli, raclette, oh, the raclette, the which is a type of cheese that they put over like a broiler and just melts and they scrape it onto potatoes or pretzels or vegetable. I mean,
You know what we
it's
have to add this year that we didn't have on it last year? The parampopoli.
yes, which is I mean, what is it's a type of liqueur that they light on fire. And it's very warming. It's great for the Christmas markets.
Awesome. It's quite the show.
But then there are also artisan vendors throughout. You can buy like spices or speck and cheese to take back. You can find doll makers, Christmas ornaments. I have some beautiful like pottery pieces that I've gotten there. Do you guys have any favorites that you've had before?
There was like jewelry,
All right.
like artisans, like jewelry, leather makers. I bought my dad like a new wallet for Christmas, like slippers and scarves and
Oh yeah, like wool, like alpaca or that kind of like sheep's wool, socks, hats, things like that. That's right.
Custom ornaments, the
Custom
lavender
ornaments.
stands that have all these lavender products, things that are infused with lavender.
Hmm. Any other
Oh, we have a
questions?
question in the chat. It's what is the drinking age in Italy? Are the restaurants flexible about a 17 to 18-year-old with his parents sampling wine with meals?
So Chris lives in Italy and he knows that the drinking age
Is 18.
is 18.
Yes.
As far as if the restaurants are flexible, I don't know that we've ever had someone on like the cusp of the age limit. We've had, I think, as young as 13 on a tour, not for drinking, obviously, but and then we've had some people with adult children or in their 20s. But I don't know if we've ever had anyone on the cusp. I would say if they're 18, obviously, no problem. Um, and if they're younger than that, I don't know how flexible they are. Chris, have you had any experience with that? That you well, you both were there during college years, but you were over 18, I think.
Right, right. So I don't have any personal experience with that.
Yeah,
I
but we
mean,
can
when we visit wineries, it's not like we're all getting ID'd at the door.
Mhm.
So I think if there is responsible drinking happening, I don't think a winery would have an issue with the 17 to 18 year old just
Yeah,
sitting on.
and if we're just talking about sampling the wines or something, or having a couple sips at a meal, I mean, it's also a culture in Italy where younger children have a sip of wine at dinner. So I don't think that's out of the question. You can certainly look into that more if you want to reach out after. We can certainly talk to some of our other friends in Italy and get their input on that. But it's never been an issue on any of our tours before.
I I think I'm Connie. I've been to Italy a lot, and I understand that the drinking age is for purchasing in bars and in grocery stores. But if they're with a responsible parent, it's pretty much flexible. It's according to the parents' wishes. So
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we haven't had anyone just in that age range, so it's not something that's come up before. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely had younger children be able to have a sip of wine, and you see it all like in all the restaurants. So I don't think that's an issue as long as the parents there and okay with it. Any other questions?
I'll throw in one more question for now.
Okay.
Someone had asked, are accommodations possible for people with dietary restrictions, as we're talking about seafood and cheese and meats and stuff?
Yep, definitely a common question we got, especially as they're food and wine tours. But we can absolutely accommodate food allergies, dietary restrictions. The one thing, and as long as we know about them ahead of time, because we do set up all the menus, we curate every menu with the restaurant so that we are showing you a broad range of the specialties of a region, a specialty if that specific restaurant has a special dish. So we do set up those menus in advance and we can take all of those into account. I would say if there is like a whole category of food that you don't eat, maybe so say you don't eat any seafood, I maybe wouldn't pick one of our island tours or something, our coast to something where that's on every dish, because then you're really not getting a good representation of that region. But again, accommodations can be made on any tour for any kind of allergies or things like that. Absolutely. Even, I mean, we have a lot of questions about gluten-free, whether it's just celiac or a restriction. And Italy is honestly easier to accommodate that than here in the US. It's definitely part of the culture over there, and very well taken care of. That's probably, ironically, when you think of Italy with pizza, pasta, bread, um, that's probably our easiest one to handle as well. All right. So, what makes Italian cuisine so special is how rooted it is in tradition. Again, the farmers markets culture, it's like we think of it over here as sort of being a hip or trendy thing, but it is a staple of life over there. These markets happen every week on a specific day, and you'll see when you visit, like I mentioned the one in Lake Garda, you'll find produce, cheese, meats, prepared foods, but you'll also see underwear and kitchen tools and napkins. And so, especially if you're in a small town, they've got their couple stores in town. They don't have the big box store. They're not going to Target. They're not, um, going to Walmart. They've got the weekly market that comes every week, and so they go and do their shopping. Um, if you've been in an Italian home, you know that their refrigerators are a fraction of the size of our refrigerators over here. That's because they're not going to Costco and buying for the month. They are going to their Castificio in town, their cheesemaker, and getting their fresh mozzarella for the day. They're going to the butcher, the panificio, the baker. And so it's definitely a different mentality than we have here. And again, I think that's something that's super eye-opening for our American travelers to come back with. You've got families that have been running trattorias or balsamic vinegar producers for generations. We've been, like I said, running these tours for 13 years. There are some servers at some of these restaurants who have been helping us for the past 13 years. It's a way of life. It's a profession over there. And then you really taste the influences, especially in these regions, from other areas. Like I mentioned, in the Dolomites, you've got the northern influences in Venice. Venice is a huge spice trade route, so there's a lot of influence from other cultures around the world. And then increasingly, we're seeing a lot of women at the forefront of artisan food and wine, which is something we love to highlight. It's a highlight of one of our Dolomites tours. We've got a female-owned honey producer that is super special, that is not like anything we see on any of our other tours, and we love. It's one of our favorite excursions while we're on that tour. So we wanted to cover why you should travel with Curata. Obviously, we love Italy is our passion. Traveling is our passion. Um, we love taking people to Italy and showing them some of our favorite places. Um, and it's not just about seeing the sights. Obviously, you go to Italy, you want to see you want to see Rome, you want to see the Colosseum, which we obviously encourage. We want everyone to see every part of Italy. But for us, it's also about tasting and connecting and experiencing alongside some of these producers and some of the locals. Like that means our private vineyard tasting at a family run vineyard, or going to that fisherman's hut in the middle of the Venetian lagoon. So we focus on small groups. We usually have 18 to 20, 16 to 20 people maybe. We like to keep it that way to be a little more intimate, and then we're curating every detail along the way. It's all places we have gone, eaten at. We've slept in the beds at the hotels. We've done all the research. We spend a lot of time. Chris lives in Italy. Two of our other team members live in Florence as well. So we are spending a lot of time constantly doing research and updating things, but also, you know, the way we find these producers is, say we go to the honey producer, which happens to be a friend of Martina's, one of our tour leaders, and she's like, "Oh, well, there's a grappa. My cousin produces grappa down the street. You should go see that." This is just how we're putting things together, and we really love doing it. So, I hope you'll all consider coming on a tour and seeing the finished product sometime.
I think I also want to add, besides the curated experiences, besides the personal connections, um, people like to travel with us because it's a totally different way of traveling than like the definition of what travel is like. So we're trying to get you totally immersed into the culture and what daily life is like in Italy. So you're not just a tourist, which there's nothing wrong with being a tourist, but it's different compared to, staying at Hilton and signing up for a group or getting a tour guide to take you into the Colosseum, which is important. You learn a lot. That's fantastic. But to stay in a family-owned boutique hotel, um, to sort of take a step out of your comfort zone, to learning some of the language, to trying a dish that you've never heard before. I mean, I've had a traveler one time that said, I don't like tomatoes. I don't want to try them. I don't want them on I don't want it on my plate. And I was like, I hear you. Noted. I'll make sure that those accommodations are requested at the restaurants. I was like, however, you've never tried a tomato from southern Italy, from the Naples area, from the Campania region. I was like, so if you're going to try a tomato, like this is the place to do it. It's gonna taste completely different. Like take that step out of your comfort zone, be a little uncomfortable. This is your time to just try it. She did it. She tried it and she's like, that is the best. She's like, tomato's my favorite food. That is the best tomato I've ever had in my life. So it's just those ideas of, trusting us with providing you with a really, really incredible experience, trying new things, and putting yourself out there to learn about a culture and a way of living that we're not used to.
And
Yeah,
I
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I also think that something that we hear a lot from our travelers, along with everything that Brianna just said, is that yes, you're having this experience to go off the beaten path and live like a local, but you're doing that without having to plan any of it. So that's another reason why people like to travel with us, because we take care of everything from restaurant reservations, hotel reservations, transportation, excursions, all of that. You don't have to think about any of that. You just have to sit back and enjoy the places that we bring you to. And then, of course, there's free time in our destinations, and that's where you can kind of customize it and make it your own and do the things that you want to do. Maybe that's sit and eat, maybe that's going to a museum, maybe that's just walking around aimlessly around a new city. But for the most part, there's really no stress or pressure that is put on you during these tours at all. It is all taken care of, and you just have to kind of come along for the ride and enjoy the experiences that we do together.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that maybe the number one thing when people get home, or even like say our tour ends and they are going to explore Rome, or they're going to explore, another city afterwards, we'll get a message and they're like, "All right, we're out at dinner. What are we supposed to order now? You're not here. You didn't pick our menu for us. Where's our newsletter? Where's our information?" Because they have gotten so accustomed over the 10 days or the week with us of having everything already arranged for them. And even people who, like, when I travel on my own, I'm a big planner, and there's a lot of people who are like, "I don't need someone to plan this for me." We're finding places that you're not going to find, and we'll cover this in the next slide too, but things you're not going to find in like a guidebook, or um, we're finding those places for you that you wouldn't even know about. And we just love doing it. And for people that are also maybe a little hesitant about doing a group tour, like Chris said, you do have free time. We make sure on every day you have a couple hours of free time, whether you just again, like Chris said, want to go and stroll around, if you want to go and read a book, if you just need to recharge your social battery, you've got time. You're not, we're not on and off the bus 20 times throughout the day. We don't leave at 6 in the morning and come back at 11 at night. It is pretty moderate pace. So you do have some time to breathe in between there.
We did have a question come through about itineraries. So Marie asked, is there a daily itinerary available, including details on overnight accommodations?
Yeah, so for any given tour, we don't post them online, but you can just send a message. If there's one specific one, we can certainly send those to you. On our website, we just have sort of the destinations, highlights, and things like that. But if anyone wants a specific itinerary for any tour, we're happy to share that, including hotel links and things like that. So yeah, just reach out and we can send any of those to you for any tour. So like I was saying, we would love for you to join us in Northern Italy. We hope we've given you a good taste of that today. So, whether you want to just sip a nice Franciacorta wine on the shores of Lake Como, or if you want to have some strudel with us at the market, the Christmas market in Bolzano, we would really love to have any of you food lovers with us for any of these tours. We do have limited spots available for the two tours left this year. So if any of this speaks to you, we would love for you to join us. The times of year that we plan this and any of our tours are what we believe to be an ideal time to travel. So the Lakes tour is during the fall. We specifically try to get there during that grape harvest season so that we can enjoy that specific excursion. Obviously, December in the Dolomites is an ideal time for the Christmas markets. We picked the week we did. It starts right after Thanksgiving, and then goes through just the beginning of December, so it doesn't go too far into the holiday season. So hopefully you're not missing anything back at home. And then these are also great trips because of where they are located. We've got Milan and Venice, which are huge airport hubs. A lot of our trips go to these off the beaten path places, and sometimes it requires multiple connections, or doesn't have the most frequent flight itineraries. But Milan and Venice, and even Verona in some cases, you can usually find direct flights from the US, especially the East Coast, direct flights and cheaper flights. So those are also great tips for those gateways, as it were, getting into the country. And then on the next three slides, we've just got some details, specifics about the trips with the itineraries. So starting with our lakes region, that's coming up in October, which, as we mentioned, goes from Lake Como over to Verona. Verona is right next to Lake Garda, which we'll do a couple experiences there, and then finishes in Chioggia, which is on the Venetian Lagoon directly across from Venice. We do take you into Venice for the day. We can't just take you to Chioggia and be like, oh, look, there's Venice without taking you. So obviously, we have a lot of people too that extend their trip at the end and stay a couple nights extra. We've mentioned some of the great activities there. That picture in the bottom right is actually our hotel on Lake Como. It's, I think, the only hotel that's on the lake like that. It's a great family run boutique hotel. It's really gorgeous. We take, you can jump right off the little platform over there into the lake if you feel like it. October's a little chilly for me, but as far as swimming, but it's a great time of year. Weather is beautiful usually. Um,
People have done
yeah,
it last year.
people have done it. It's not my cup of tea. People like a cold plunge too. I'm not into that, but encouraged. And then next we've got the December in the Dolomites, which, like I mentioned, starts right after Thanksgiving and goes through the um, first week of December. Again, we've mentioned a lot of the highlights. We've got, oh, we didn't mention the cheesemaker. We go to a really cool affineur, which is, he doesn't make cheese from milk. He brings it in from other cheesemakers and he ages it. So he actually he has a whole aging cave in a World War II bunker, um, so he does different applications, and we do a really cool cheese tasting there. And then we've got the Christmas markets, apple farm, honey. It's a really
Grappa.
fantastic. What's that?
Grappa.
Grappa, right? Grappa tasting. Um, yeah, so that is, I think, a favorite of everyone's. And then one that we didn't really touch on is we have a tour next summer. We've taken our December in the Dolomites and taken it into summer. So, like I mentioned, this region is great for, I don't want to say adventure travel, but more on the active side. So, that we've got a foraging excursion. So, going out and picking and learning about fresh herbs and things that you can find in the woods in these areas. Um, we have like a thermal spa experience, some hiking. We will go to an adventure park where you can just do some walking trails or a zip line. So there's a mountain coaster. You can choose your own adventure as far as the activity level goes, but this is a little more of an active trip. It's based on one of our tour leaders, Romina. Her grandparents are from this region, and she used to go up every summer. So it's based on her summer memories of going up there to visit her grandparents. So we're excited to offer that next July. And then our next page is just all of the rest of our trips for 2026. So you can see we go again all over Italy. Again, we also have added Croatia back. That was a super popular cruise. Brianna and I actually just got back from that experience. We have two of them next year. So we've got two itineraries back to back, which is a small yacht. Essentially, that sounds very bougie. It's a little bougie. It's a little fancy, but we've chartered the boat, so 19 rooms just for us. The first tour is a brand new itinerary that we've created with the boat company north of Split, out of a town called Šibenik. And then the second itinerary goes from Split down to Dubrovnik. There are 1,500 islands as part of Croatia. 50 of them that are inhabited, I think is the number. So really gorgeous, gorgeous water, really cool food that ties in really well with Italy. So other than Croatia, we also have coastal Spain. We have some friends who opened a culinary school on the coast of Spain, and we'll be visiting them, as well as doing some excursions in Valencia. Unconventional Tuscany, which is again something else created from our other tour leader, Martina, based on her summer. Oh, speaking of, Martina just popped in. Based
We said her name and
she
she
must have
arrived.
heard. Yeah. So they're based on Martina's summer vacation travels as well as a growing up in Tuscany, this is where she used to summer. So it goes to Maremma and ciao,
I
Martina.
we were just talking about
uh, it goes from the Maremma area and coastal Tuscany. There's a really cool fishing excursion on that tour. Mentioned summer in the Dolomites. I'm just sort of hopping around here. Western Sicily is a popular trip that we've brought back for next year, which goes, we've actually expanded it a little. It's Palermo, Trapani, and now we've included Agrigento. So it goes, if you think of Sicily, it goes along the northwest coast of Sicily. Really cool experience of harvesting your own salt. Trapanese sea salt is a popular sea salt you can find, and you get to go out to one of the salt pans and harvest your own sea salt. This is the area of Marsala wine. Um, we've got, what else do we have?
classic
We've got,
Italy. Classic Italy is really interesting. We always hear, we ask people, have you been to Italy before? Oh, yes, I've been to Rome, I've been to Florence, I've been to Venice. And we hear that over Rome, Florence, Venice, which we get it. They're the hot spots and they're amazing to visit. But we wanted to sort of get our own take of these three places. So we've called this Classic Italy, and our spin on it is visiting the town of Perugia, which is in the region of Umbria, they call it the green heart of Italy, right in the center of the country of Italy. And then we go to Bologna, which is the food capital of Italy. So we sort of start in central Italy and then work our way up. Bologna, Italy, and then our last stop is Chioggia, which is what we had talked about during the lakes tour. So it takes a part of the lakes tour, but it's sort of our take on the classic Rome, Florence, Venice, Perugia, Bologna, Chioggia. So it gives you a different vibe, and but without the crowds.
yeah, it sort of parallels that route. And, we do a team retreat every year where we, talk about what itineraries are going to be offering and things like that. And we love coming up with new options. And so that was something that we all put together. We're like, well, if you had to pick your classic spots. And so that's a new itinerary, but all places we've taken people that are super popular with our travelers. Uh, Beautiful, delicious. I mean, the food on that trip is really outstanding. um, what else didn't we talk about? The coast to coast with Chef Taylor. We do some tours with Taylor Mason from Lucca and Lancaster. Obviously, very popular. That one's already sold out for the spring. La Cucina Puglia next October is one that we've done previously and brought back. So that and the Tuscan immersion are both meant to be a real deep dive into a region. So we stay in one place the whole time, and really do a really great study of the cuisine of that region. And for La Cucina Puglia, we stay in a beautiful masseria, which is like almost like a castle in the middle of the Puglia countryside, an olive oil farm, really, really gorgeous. We stay there for the week. This trip does have some optional add-ons. You can do a few nights before with us in Matera, which is a really awesome cave town, or Lecce, which is considered the Florence of Puglia, a really beautiful Baroque city just south of where we'll be staying. So we do offer those add-ons. And then Tuscan Immersion, similar to La Cucina Puglia, it's 1 week at an agriturismo in the heart of Tuscany in Greve and Chianti. This we're doing a little different in that they are all can be privatized. So it's 6 if you have a group of 6, and then you can pick your dates as long as they work with the agriturismo. So it's almost like your little packaged private tour. And that's based on the first tour we ever ran, where we started here at the Agriturismo. So that one's really close to our heart as well. You can see all the dates there. They're all available on our website. On any of them, you can ask us questions. You can contact us. It's got details beyond dates. It has airports, special notes about that tour as far as maybe mobility or food or anything like that. List some of the highlights. And like we mentioned, you can ask us for specific itinerary details for any of them if you'd like. Is there
Someone,
anything?
yeah, someone did ask if they can request the recording to share with some friends.
Absolutely. We're gonna we're going to post the link to the recording on our social media. We'll send it out in our newsletter, and it'll also be in our on our YouTube page where it will live. So if you find any of those, if you don't find it on there, you can certainly just contact us through the website, and we can make sure we get you the link. Any other questions? Anything we didn't cover? We hope some of you are feeling inspired after learning a little more about Northern Italy. And we hope to see you on our lakes tour, Christmas tour next summer. Thank you, Martina. You guys have anything else to add? Nope. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today. And again, reach out if you have any questions. We hope to see you on a tour soon. Thanks so much, everyone. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone.